What's up, a Cinema Shogun here, and you know the Rings of Power has to be really bad, and I mean really, really bad, for the mainstream media and these entertainment outlet shills to actually acknowledge it. But the Rings of Power is so bad that even they are finally speaking out. They tried to be quiet for the first week and then the second week. But as episode after episode comes out and we're already like halfway through the season, it's become evident that this show isn't going anywhere. It's not going to get better. It's going to be even worse. And these mainstream media outlets, I guess for once they got the courage to say something. They know what little of their reputation is left is at stake here. The Rings of Power, it's one of those things that it's so bad that I feel like there is no pretending to like it. There are various Marvel movies and just movies in general that have come out in my lifetime that people hate that I enjoy, or that I can find some enjoyment from. Even some of the wokest, most garbage Star Wars movies and TV shows that are out there right now, I could nitpick and cherry pick things that I find enjoyable or likable. But in the Rings of Power, honestly, guys, I can't find one thing that I could be like, man, this is really cool, or I really like this. It's so void and dry of any emotions or love or anything. So the mainstream media is finally speaking up, because the worst part of the Rings of Power by far is Galadriel. I think one of the most powerful, like cool characters in fantasy history. You know, of course, in Tolkien's lore. Yet they made her so unlikable. So unlikable that the mainstream media can't even ignore it. And they love these type of characters. These Mary Sues. These strong woman characters. But here's Screen Rant's latest article. Why Galadriel comes off as unlikable in the Rings of Power. Galadriel in the Rings of Power was quite different from her counterpart in The Lord of the Rings. In Amazon's long-awaited series, The Rings of Power, Galadriel's character was portrayed as an abrasive, arrogant warrior princess. The Galadriel of The Lord of the Rings was kind, warm, and gentle, with great beauty and charisma. It's difficult to imagine her as a wrathful soldier, clad in a suit of armor. Her elegance and stature didn't mesh with the unpleasant she-elf in the Rings of Power. This disparity could be explained by the thousands of years that separated young Galadriel from older Galadriel. Now that is where I draw the line. Even the Galadriel from thousands of years ago didn't come across as a complete bitch like the Galadriel in the Rings of Power. The Galadriel in the Rings of Power is one of the most unlikable characters in the history of television. And I am not over-exaggerating. I dislike her more than any villain you can throw out there. And this is the main protagonist. The Rings of Power show Galadriel as a bitter and impatient, self-driven woman that is driven by her desire for revenge. And I tell you what, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. That is not Galadriel, and it never will be Galadriel. Even the Galadriel from back in the day, she never came across as this type of character. Even the folks over at Forbes have come out and said that Galadriel is an unlikable character and that she should never have been the center point of this show. And I'm wondering, will Amazon listen to the critics? They will not listen to the fans, But will they listen to the critics? Will they restructure the show going forward? This is what they had to say over at Forbes. Maybe Galadriel shouldn't have been the central hero. One thing that I've thought about quite a lot is the notion that maybe Galadriel simply shouldn't have been a central character in this show. She's one of the only elves that has lived long enough to have come from Valinor. In the films, Peter Jackson used lighting trickery to make Kate Blanchett's eyes shimmer and glow because she's seen the two trees of Valinor and their light still infuses in her being, including in her hair. The problem here is that Galadriel does not have shimmering eyes and her hair does not glow with the light of the two trees of Valinor. She just comes across as a young and very serious and very, very angry woman who ignores advice and has very little wisdom, all of which is both odd and frustrating. I don't think she'd be a very likable character even if she wasn't Galadriel and was just some young, non-canon elf made up for the story. But at least that would make sense. So they're saying that even if this wasn't Galadriel, that the character wouldn't be likable, and I agree. When I looked at the character, when I watched episode 1, I didn't even watch it with the lenses of thinking this is Galadriel, because this would never be my Galadriel. You understand what I'm saying? But watching it, I still tried to like the character. I still tried to connect with the character, but I simply could not. And even if it wasn't Galadriel, I would not be able to connect with that character. I don't know what they were thinking with this. The writing in this show overall is terrible. But to think that anyone could put, how many episodes is this? 13 episodes or however many episodes of this show together and not sit back and realize, our main character is an insufferable cunt that people are not going to be able to stand. I cannot stand Galadriel. If anything, I am rooting for Sauron at this point. I don't care. Destroy all of Middle-earth as long as I never have to see the weird, smug look on this woman's face ever again. Honestly, guys, I don't know how people are powering through season 1 of this show because I can't get past episode 2. It is so bad. And most of my problems with the show all go back to Galadriel. Like, I feel as if the other characters in the show might be slightly more likable if you weren't sitting there rolling your eyes 24/7 at Galadriel. It makes, like, it's tiring. Watching her on screen, it's tiring. It drains you emotionally, physically, in a bad way. They need to do something and something quick. There's no way they get away with 5 seasons of this garbage show with this garbage actress leading the way. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all on the next video.